Hello, mathematicians. Today we're going to be learning about percents, more specifically writing fractions as percents and decimals. To get us started, here we have a 10 by 10 grid. And a 10 by 10 grid is helpful because we know that percents are out of 100. So whenever we have a fraction that is Hello, mathematicians. Today we're going to be learning about percents, more specifically writing fractions as percents and decimals. To get us started, here we have a 10 by 10 grid. And we know that a 10 by 10 grid has 100 squares, so this is helpful especially when we're talking about percents. So here we have a fraction that is 13 out of 100. And so because we have 100 squares, we know that the fraction 13 out of 100 means that we shade in 13 of these squares. So the fraction we have here is 13 out of 100, and because it's already out of 100, we know that this would be 13% because percents are out of 100. And as a decimal, this would be 13 hundredths. Again, think of this kind of as cents. It takes 100 cents to make a dollar, so we would write this as 0.13, 13 hundredths, where 100 of them would make a whole. Here we have another example, which is 7 out of 50. And because we want to take this fraction and write it as a percent, it's a little bit more challenging when our denominator is not out of 100. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our fraction and we're going to find an equivalent fraction that is out of 100 to figure out what the percent would be. So in order to make our denominator 100, we're going to have to take the 50 and multiply that by 2. And whatever we do to the denominator, we need to do to both the numerator and the denominator. So 7 times 2 is equal to 14, and 50 times 2 is equal to 100. So 7 over 50 is equal to 14 out of 100. So we're going to go ahead and shade that in. So that is the same as 14%. And then as a decimal, this is going to be 14 hundredths. Again, just think of each box as 1 cent. And because we have 14, that would be similar to 14 cents. Next, we have the fraction 9 over 25. And again, we're going to take that fraction and make sure that it's out of 100 to make it easier for us to write it as a percent and as a decimal. And in order to get this denominator to be 100, we're going to go ahead and multiply that by 4. And whatever we do to the denominator, we have to do to both the numerator and the denominator. So 9 times 4 is equal to 36, and 25 times 4 is equal to 100. So 9 over 25 is equal to 36 out of 100. So that means that is the same as 36%. And then as a decimal, that would be 36 hundredths. Here we have another example, which is 3 out of 10. And we know that percents are out of 100, so what we're going to have to do is find the equivalent fraction that has a denominator that is 100. So in order to do that, we're going to have to take 10 and multiply that by 10. And 10 times 10 is equal to 100, but whatever we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator as well. So we're going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 10. So 3 times 10 is equal to 30, and 10 times 10 is equal to 100. So we're going to go ahead and shade that in. So we have 30 out of 100, which is the same thing as 30% because percents are out of 100. As a decimal, that would be 30 hundredths, or we could write that as 3/10. Because when we have a 0 at the very end, we could drop it. So 0.30, so 30 hundredths, or 0.3, which is 3/10, are equivalent to each other. And that's it.